The following production is brought to you by the Talkin' Buds Leaf Show.
Talkin' Buds Leaf Show post-Christmas edition, end of 2022 edition. This will be our last show of 2022. And boy, what a year it's been.
What was great about this year? What are we thankful for about this season?
I was going to save this till the very end. You didn't know I was going to ask you this, but screw it. Let's do it right now.
No, you start. I'm sick of you asking me the questions, all right? It's my turn to ask you a question.
You're sick of getting put on the spot by me.
You answer it. What if, looking back on 2022, including last season, this season, where are you at?
That's an easy answer to me. To me, the biggest Toronto Maple Leaf related story of the year, without question, is Austin Matthews breaking the single season franchise goal record and winning the Hart Trophy.
Yeah, I mean, think about all the amazing players that have played for this franchise, and it took that long for another Maple Leaf to win the Hart Trophy.
Yeah.
Epic.
It is epic. And, like, there was a lot of things you could really point at. Like, I think, you know, if you want to talk about the playoff loss to the Lightning, like Sam McKee said it when we had him on a couple weeks ago, it wasn't the type of thing, you know, we had such a bad taste in our mouth from the year before with the loss to the Habs. And while the Lightning series loss was devastating and painful, I don't think anyone walked away from that like, oh, they should have, like, they really screwed that up. It was like, no, that was paper thin, could have gone either way.
Yeah, it was just too bad what happened years prior. I think that's where most people are at. But overall, I mean, this team just keeps chugging away, man. Like, they're just, no matter what's thrown their way, every year they're in the mix. Every year they're one of the best teams in their division. In the latter half of 2022, they're in the top 5 in the league. So it's just, they just keep chugging away, man. There's really not a lot of, like, if you really think about it, like, just take yourself out of the day-to-day drama. There's
what can you really complain
positive
about?
all around, really. Like,
well, I'll tell you what you can complain about. If you're like us and you do a Leaf show, them being good is horrible for business.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna come up here and drum up fake negative narratives because it's better for business.
No, I'm sure someone will watch this and be like, how did they not mention this for 2022? But I was like trying to like rack my brain before we got on here, like. I think Kyle Dubas rolling the dice on the goaltending is a big story for the year. Like, basically getting away from Jack Campbell and going with Matt Murray and Ilya Samsonov was one of the bigger stories of the year. Guy got chirped all offseason for it by a lot of the fan base. Like, that's one thing that I'm proud to say you and I did not take part in, was the chirping of the...
We weren't on it at all. We were kind of like, okay, we'll wait and see. Could be a disaster, but I wasn't crying.
What else are they going to do?
Yeah, I wasn't crying. And overall, I think they look better in net in terms of depth than they ever have before, really. Even going back to Freddie Anderson.
Can I give you my underrated story of 2022? At the trade deadline last year, Kyle Dubas went out and got Mark Giordano. And at the time, I think the fan base looked at it as, okay, great, veteran guy. He's a rental. He's going to come in here. He's adding some experience to the blue line. He's an older guy, but he still plays upwards of 20 minutes a night. Nice addition to the blue line. I don't think they knew, and I don't think any of us knew or could go on to predict what a huge piece Mark Giordano has become to this Maple Leaf team. Like, he's like he basically took over where Spezza left off, being like the veteran leader of the room. With the injuries they've had on defense so far this season, he's been Keefe's number one horse. I just think, like, at the time when they made the deal, I think we were all like, okay, great. Like, a veteran experienced guy, former Norris Trophy winner, perfect. We'll need him for the playoff run. I don't think any of us saw. No, he's going to sign a 2-year extension at like minimal salary, and he's going to become like he's basically going to replace Jason Spezza as the veteran leader of this team.
Well, that's the key right there, is they got more out of it than just a quarter of a season. Like that's where it was. Every other piece they picked up that was a veteran presence at the deadline over the past couple seasons never
so he's
returned.
He's just above. I wanted to say 800. I wanted to double check though, because league minimum is 750. But like, yeah, guys playing for guys logging huge minutes as their number one defenseman for $800,000. It's incredible.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're really following in Jason Spezza's footsteps, there might be an opportunity post-career for you if you keep going the same way he did.
How much do you think that factors in? Like, and I'm being serious. Like, how much do these guys, like, Gio's from here. He wanted to come back here. I think it works. I think, he was the captain of the Calgary Flames. He won a Norris Trophy there. Not from Calgary, but I think, if you're a Canadian guy playing on a Canadian team, you can kind of figure your way out. But like, he goes to Seattle. I'm sure him and his family, nothing against Seattle, but it's an expansion franchise. I'm sure he and his family, when that happened, were like now we gotta go live in Seattle. And then he gets the opportunity to come here, come home, and yeah, you know what? I'll take a haircut for 2 years to play here. 1, because it's better for my family, and 2, because for all intents and purposes, like, you've seen how this team takes care of their legend. Guys who never won anything, and I mean that with all the love in the world, never won anything, are immortals in this city. Like, they really are.
Yeah. I mean, you got to take it's true. I think it all depends on like where you are in your career, I guess. Like, it's just like, he's an older guy and his priority was just maybe finally settling down in the place he really wants to live. And when you play for this hockey team, I always kind of laugh at the Leafs being cup contenders, but it's not like you're coming here and playing on an awful team. Like, you have a chance every time you play here, but like, if they can find a way, which they have, to capitalize on guys like Giordano who are in a situation where it's, my career is coming to an end. I want to settle down in Toronto, obviously with my family, and he's already made, I mean, a pretty good salary in the NHL over his entire career. So I don't know, like, just taking advantage of that situation of him wanting to be in Toronto and him actually being an effective player. That's money.
Yeah.
Plus, there might be a nice little job for you after.
And sponsorship deals.
Yeah. I mean,
like, the guys on the radio joke about that all the time, about how, like, Ilya Mikheyev said, like, a throwaway comment one time about liking soup, and then he gets a Campbell's soup sponsorship.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been great. I think you're right. That is a good story of 2022.
Super underrated.
Yeah.
So since we last spoke, Maple Leafs pick up a thrilling 5-4 OT victory over the St. Louis Blues. Few points I want to throw at you about this game. First one is, I saw Ilya Samsonov taking some heat on Twitter last night. Wasn't his best game. The prior game against Philly, to his own acknowledgement, wasn't his best game. Where are you at on that? Because with me, do I think it was his best game? No, I don't. Do I think that it wasn't their best game defensively in a few weeks? Yes. I think they gave up a lot of quality chances in the middle of the ice in their own zone and hung them out to dry a couple times. Yes. 2 or 3 of those 5 goals I'm sure he'd like to have back. But I don't think, like, I think anyone who's freaking out about Ilya Samsonov, he's coming back down to earth. Here he comes. It's the same thing he did last year with Washington. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes.
There's so many different ways to look at this. He was playing out of his mind. Like we always say, when this team's going good, when they're going bad, it's somewhere in the middle. So he's regressing to where he probably is going to end up in terms of numbers. But also, I heard Freeman saying after the game, and he battled, man. Like, it's like he didn't have his best game. I thought they gave up, like you said, a lot of quality chances. He had to make a lot of great saves.
Yeah, like, for all the talk lately about team defense, I don't think it was that good last.
Yeah, which
like,
is
against
fine.
San-
It's a game after Christmas. I feel like once Justin Hull scored, I was like, okay, this game might be a bit of a shit show. But I mean, I get why people are like, oh, here we go, whatever. They just kind of want to see them come crashing down in a weird way. But I thought he battled hard. I thought when you're in a game like that, like your goalie's not going to be good every single game. He has been playing out of his mind. He had to come back down to earth, but he made a lot of key saves in key moments. And when you walk away with that big W, the hell does it matter anyways? Like really, like what does it matter? I thought the Washington game was concerning, but the Philly game, it's like the guy was bored in his own net the entire game because the Leafs had the puck the whole time. And then whatever, he battled hard. He got a W in St. Louis. Like, get over it. Cares. And you know what I like too? I like how the narrative going into the game was he was like begging for this start. Like for all the people who were chirping him about him being nervous against Washington, that's a way to show you got some nuts when you're going begging for another start because you want to get back on track. Isn't that what you want?
Also, I have a second part to add to this conversation. I think part of the reason why he asked to go in again is because I think he is hyper aware of his own performance. And the reason why is because I think the organization, and you've heard Kiprios say this on the radio a couple times, Matt Murray's the guy. Like if you look at, if you were to give Keefe and Dubas some truth serum, they would tell you, if you're going into game 7 of a playoff series tomorrow, who's going in net? Both of them would say Matt Murray. And I think Samsonov probably in the back of his mind knows that. So he wants to make sure he has every opportunity to put the seed of doubt, as he should. And I'm sure both Dubas and Keefe would be like, hell yeah, man, do that. Like to put the seed of doubt in everyone's mind to be like, no, are you sure? Are you sure you want Matt Murray to be the guy when puck drops on game 1 at home against Tampa in April?
I think the priority is having Matt Murray play as least amount of games as possible. Like I don't, if you look back on his NHL career, he was never a regular season stud. Marc-Andre Fleury carried those Penguin teams to the playoffs pretty much every single year. And then once the playoffs started, Marc-Andre Fleury did his Marc-Andre Fleury thing and got a little shaky. And then Matt Murray took over and won the cup. So like, to me, it's like any chance they can get to, which I also want to talk about with some other players, any chance they can get to load manage Matt Murray, I think they're going to take it. But I agree with you. I think game 1 of the playoffs, Matt Murray is the guy.
Moral of the story, everybody settle down.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Anyone who was chirping about him being nervous against Washington should be giving him praise over the fact that he wanted the net right after the break.
Dude, I'm done. I'm done with people like and their sports hot takes. Like, not to get off on a side tangent here, but the poor kid whose name escapes me because I'm honestly not paying that close attention, who started in goal for Canada and gave up 5 to Czechia.
I was like,
people,
OTA
yeah.
And
people are carving him online, and it's like, guys, he's a teenage kid in a tournament that doesn't matter. I don't care what everyone who works for TSN tells you. The tournament matters. It doesn't matter at all. I'm not saying don't watch it. Watch it. Enjoy yourself. 100%. But like, let's all take a breath before we're going to start attacking some teenage kid who's super nervous, probably in an international game. Like, everybody just relax, man. Like, I saw that the other night. I'm like, guys, he's a teenager. Like, good Lord, people are psychotic when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, I don't even want to give my take on that whole tournament. So let's just move on. Let me ask you that what I just said. Like,
okay.
Like here's going in after the break. I'm watching the game against St. Louis, and what I want for this team, I want this team to win so badly. I want them to win a playoff series so badly, and so does a lot of people in the fan base. But going in to this like next part of the season, like I want to see them crush teams. Like I want to see them steamroll teams. I want them to keep up with the Bruins. I want them to keep proving people wrong and getting people excited for the playoffs. and get people feeling positive that they can actually do something. But at the same time, do you also use the regular season as kind of like they're making the playoffs. Like they already have it locked up. Like whether they have home ice or they don't, they have a pretty good cushion right now. Like, do you focus on just playing your best hockey and crushing teams, which I would love to see? Or do you also kind of think about what's happening in April?
Hold on. Are you talking about peaking too early?
No, I'm not talking about peaking too early. I'm talking about we've watched games together, and you have said, which I think is a good idea, that a guy like John Tavares needs some load management. So instead of going hard for the rest of the season, trying to get the most amount of points or whatever, you know that you have a playoff spot pretty much locked up already. So do you kind of, like when Johnny needs a night off, like do you give him a night off? Do you give guys a night off? Like do you prioritize kind of getting guys ready for April other than just pushing to the absolute limit to have the best regular season as you possibly can?
Okay, two-part answer from me. One, I think if I would consider it, I don't think they're going to consider it until you start getting into Feb and March. Like, I think once you start getting closer to and if there is a wide enough cushion and you start getting closer to the start of the playoffs, I can see them considering it. Number two, I think this conversation needs to only apply to certain guys. Like, I think if you want to look, and let's just say it, like some of the older guys on the team, Mark Giordano, who again, early in the season is playing huge minutes for you with Morgan Riley injured.
Yeah, you have Sandin, Riley both skating right now. They come back in the lineup. Yes. Do you consider giving him
a night off here?
Off?
Yeah, or the second night of a back-to-back off. John Tavares, same thing. Johnny, and I bet you both those guys
wouldn't do it.
No, they'd be like, hell no, we don't want to come out. But I just think, you know what? I would entertain it. Like, if I would sit them down and say, listen, John Tavares, we lost you to an injury, and I know it was a freak injury. It had nothing to do with him being tired, but we lost you to a freak injury in the series against the Habs. Like, we don't want, you need to be, you got a nice goal for them against St. Louis. Like, we need you to do that, and we need you to have enough gas in the tank to be able to do that in the playoffs. Mark Giordano, we need you to play this big of a role for us come playoff time. So I do think it's a conversation they should at least entertain. I don't think they're going to have it until February, March.
Yeah, I don't really see it being their style, to be honest. But I just think, you look at all these other, you look at Tampa, they gave Kucherov a whole year off.
Yeah.
He comes back, they win the cup. You look at in the NBA right now, look at where the Golden State Warriors are in the standings. They're not even in the play-in round. But guess what? They're gonna get in there and they're gonna be rested and
towards
they're gonna
it's. I mean,
but at the same time, I don't want them to ruin this role they're on because this is literally the best they've ever played. Since, like you said, since this whole era started.
What's left to say about William Nylander? I was debating.
I watched that goal, and I don't want to make the audio listeners feel bad, but William Nylander walked off the ice with the biggest nutsack you've ever seen in your life, man. This guy, he just stripped. He didn't strip some bum. He stripped Vladimir Tarasenko, a guy who admits trade talks because the Blues cannot re-sign him. And his name's been thrown around. And obviously in this city on the radio, everyone's bored out of their mind. So they come up with names that the Leafs could get. And his name has been floated. His teammate O'Reilly's been floated. And then William Nylander the nutsack on that guy to completely strip him of the puck.
And then roof it on Jordan Binnington.
Dust him. And then just make Jordan Binnington, who's the biggest idiot goalie in the NHL, look like a complete idiot. It was
incredible.
Is that season in a nutshell?
So I was debating whether I wanted to throw this out there because I knew you might get annoyed. Some of the people watching might get annoyed. So Kyprios got himself into some hot water with a segment of the fan base a couple weeks ago when he wrote a piece in the Toronto Star about how William Nylander is pricing himself off the Toronto Maple Leafs because his deal is up the same time Matthews' deal is. And on the one hand, I get people's frustration with that. It's like, can we just enjoy this guy having a career season? If this team is ever going to go on a deep playoff run, William Nylander was always going to have to be a major factor in that. But on the other hand, it's like he's $6.9 million. He's playing like a $10 million hockey player right now.
Robbie's the best player on their hockey team right now.
And has been since the season started.
That was just like, that was like, it's like he just grew up right in front of our eyes. Like, it's just, he hit 26 years of age and he just decided he's going to be that was a man play. Yeah. Like, he just made one of the best, most skilled players in the NHL look like a little bitch and just stripped the puck, blew by him. And it's like, I love TJ Brody, but when TJ Brody went on that penalty shot, it's like when you're a D and you don't have the hand, like, just shoot the puck.
I'm confused. Does he have to take the penalty shot?
Yes.
Yeah, because he got hauled to the ice.
But it's like, when you're a D going in like that, it's like, shoot the puck. Don't try to deke it. But like, when William Nylanders going in on that break, like, there wasn't an ounce of doubt in my mind. He was scoring. Like, it was just, that was arguably my favorite play of the entire season. Like, that was unbelievable.
There were people, ourselves included, who for years were like, he's a trade piece. He's the guy they're moving. I'm not moving it. He's untouchable. You're not taking him.
And he was at the time.
Nylander, Matthews, and Bunting are a tidal wave in the offensive zone.
Yeah, they're unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. That line is a joy to watch. So every single night.
I don't want to get into the discussion about William Nylander's next contract. You and I swore off contract talk this year. We're going to enjoy the guy's career season, and we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. The only reason why I bring it up is because he's getting paid $6.9 million and is playing like a $10 million hockey player. Right?
Well, to me, I look at it this way. It's Tampa Bay has gone through the same thing. Like, they've had to let go of a lot of key pieces on those teams. But guess what? They got it done. Like, if they could somehow find a way to get something done, then it's worth it.
Well,
like,
somebody watching this is looking at you talking about how Florida has no state income tax and guys will take it.
I don't care about that, but it's just like the problem with this team, it's like they've gotten nothing done. So it's this year, if they get something done, then it's like mission accomplished, and then you worry about the contracts later.
It's true. If they go on a deep run or win a cup, it's like you're just kind of like, it's like the LA Rams.
Like, you got to get something out. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like,
perfect example.
Yeah, like the LA Rams are now they're ravaged with injuries, but they're a terrible football team. But does anyone care? They won their Super Bowl last year. Yeah.
It's like, it buys you some time and some time with the fan base to make just tough decisions. Like, I don't know, like, they just have to do something, and then we'll all feel better about it. We're all scared because we're scared of this window closing because nothing's really happened in this window other than incredible regular season success. You go on a run, it's different. It's different after that. So, I mean, this year, like, I want them to win so bad, and they look so good, and they're second in the league in goals against per game. Like, they've went out and fixed everything they've had to fix. They've had players have seasons, like Austin Matthews not even having his best season, and look how good they're doing because Nylander's stepping up. Bunting is just as good as he was last year. Marner went on a point streak.
Marner is literally in the conversation for the Hart Trophy.
Like, he's unbelievable. Like, Mike,
and he's revitalized Tavares. Like, Tavares has played well, but Marner is such a huge piece of John Tavares' success.
And then you're watching the St. Louis game, and like Alex Kerfoot's having the game of his life.
What about me texting you and saying they need another forward and someone with some scoring touch, not another Yarncroc or Kerfoot, and then the next shift, Yarncroc and Kerfoot go out and tag team on a shorty together. And I'm like I'll see myself out.
That third line looked really good. Like, Justin Holl's playing better. Like, their defense, like
hold on. He is playing better, but there was a few moments last night where it was my God, Justin Holl.
But like Sandin and Liljegren have finally matured to the point where they're like
Legit.
in the lineup.
Yeah, they're legit.
Like this is it. Like this, I'm just watching the St. Louis game. I'm like, I want this team to succeed so badly. I'm so tired of ragging on them. I'm so tired of all the idiots in our comments ragging on us about being positive towards the team. I just want to see them stick the middle finger in everybody's face.
Well,
so badly.
Well, the idiots are the trolls. My favorite is people who comment on our TikToks and they're like, first round exit. It's like,
yeah, I know, we get it.
Yeah, cool. Good for you. Here's a random question for you. Does it make you as angry as it makes me that when I see like a projection, it's mostly in the US media, that Sheldon Keefe's name is nowhere to be found in the Jack Adams conversation?
I've just become accustomed to the Jack Adams Award being for the coach that revitalizes a crappy team. Like, that's kind of where that award has gone.
That's why everyone's all hot and bothered by Jim Montgomery.
Here's another thing that I'm proud of. I never hopped on the Sheldon Keefe hate train, ever. And, dude, look at this guy's numbers. What was the stat they pulled up the other night? He has the most wins in his first, 200 games. Like, he's, one of the most winningest coaches in the regular season since he's taken over this team. And, we're just ready to burn him at the stake every time something bad happens.
And we're talking injuries off the top. And, look at all we've been saying since the beginning of November is, wow, look at this team's commitment to team defense. And they've literally done that without their best defenseman. And while both goalies have looked really good and played out of their minds, it's largely because the team is playing so well in front of them.
And it wasn't do you think it was an easy job with this group they had?
No.
Do you think it was an easy job to walk in that dressing room and tell these players who weren't defensive minded to play defensive minded? It's almost taken years and years and years of failure for this to finally click.
That's part of it too. Not to take anything away from Sheldon Keefe. That's not what I'm trying to do at all. But I think everyone in that room as a collective looks around at each other and goes, we got to get this done this year. This can't happen again. We cannot lose in the first round again. And I think they're all like, okay, if we play well in the defensive zone, we can still get our cookies offensively. And you see that. That's exactly what's happening.
And this sounds kind of ridiculous, but this is the way the NHL is. These guys aren't 20 years old anymore.
No.
William Nylander's 26. Morgan Riley's 28. Matthews is 25. Marner's 25. Johnny's in his third. It's kind of it's time to do something here. We've had years to mature. We've had a lot of experiences. I want them to get it done so badly. It's not even funny. I want it so bad. I just want them to flip everybody off so bad. Oh,
well, they sure continue to play like a team that has a very good chance to get that done.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Let's hope 2023 is the year where it finally comes true. The Leafs advance to the second round of the postseason.
Next stop, Mullet Arena.
Yeah. I'm actually excited to watch that.
They always go in there and suck, too. Every year, no matter what roster, they go into that state and that city and they get smashed for some reason.
Apparently, Mullet Arena is pretty wild because it's on a university campus.
Yeah.
Apparently it's a time going to Mullet Arena.
Well, hey, great name.
It is a great name. Ryan, that's going to do it for the Talking Buds Leaf Show in 2022. As I just said, let's hope for the best in 2023. 2022 was a huge year for our channel, subscriber-wise and growth-wise. Thank you so much to everyone who joined in. Like I said, even if you want to get in the comments and rip us, we'll love you for it anyway. We just really appreciate it. It's fun.
Yeah, it is. It's nice. It's nice. It's been a good year, and it's time for an even better 2023.
If this is your first time watching us, thank you so much for checking us out. If you like what you see,
Spread the word. Tell your friends.
We really appreciate it. And we will see everyone in 2023.